And we're live.
Good morning and welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Megan Hunter, the President and CEO of the Morris County Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corporation, which is a division of the Chamber in a partnership with the County Freeholders. At the Chamber, we continue to connect you to each other and to information that you need to succeed. We convene now virtually. We facilitate events such as this, Meet the Candidate. We educate with seminars and webinars, and we advocate on your behalf. We are now continuing to fulfill our mission virtually, and your success is our mission. We are glad to bring you this Meet the Candidate series. Today we host Freeholder candidate Cary Amaro. She will describe her policy platform and position on issues, her experiences, and any accomplishments that she'd like to highlight as well. We thank you again for joining us today. I'd like to thank Mike Stanzilis, our Vice President of Membership and Government Affairs, and Alan Zakin of Alan Zakin Associates, who chairs our Government Affairs Committee, for organizing this event. Now I'll turn it over to Alan.
Thank you very much, Megan, and thank you, Cary, for joining us today. We appreciate you partaking in our Meet the Candidate series. We had incumbent freeholder Typhoon Celine, who is running for the single seat this year as a Republican incumbent, and Cary, you as his opponent. We welcome to have the same forum and let our members and the voting public of Morris County view this. Now, we will go back to our regular series we do in conjunction with the Morris ELC. That's a grassroots affiliate of NJBIA. And that will happen in November, and we're going to have the Assembly Budget Chair, Ileana Pinter-Marin. We're still just finalizing that date. It should be shortly after the November election. And of course, don't forget to vote. That's what this is all about. And it's paper ballot, so the earlier you vote, the better. We are I'll just give a brief introduction, and Ms. Amaro will speak, and then we'll take questions. And that'll be moderated by Mike Stanzilis. Ms. Amaro is a resident of Randolph, where she lives with her 2 children. She earned a master's degree in accounting from Fairleigh Dickinson and has spent the last 15 years working in financial management and operational accounting. I know she's participated in our Government Affairs Committee before, so we certainly appreciate that. And as a controller, she knows the importance of, forgive me, she knows, her goal is to advocate for practical, evidence-based solutions to many of Morris County's issues, smart growth and fiscal responsibility. And her vision is to lead the county forward by utilizing moderately conservative budgetary strategies to drive tax savings for constituents without cutting county services. Please all join me in giving a virtual warm welcome to Cary Amaro.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I want to take a moment to thank Alan, Megan, Mike for putting this event together and making it readily available to the public. I am so honored to be here with you. I am Cary Amaro. A little bit about myself. I've been told I have to share more. So I was born in the Bronx, New York, and I came to New Jersey, wow, about 25 years ago. I married very young and I found myself in an abusive relationship, basically. And I ended up, when my children were babies, I ended up leaving my ex-husband. I don't think my son was even a year old. I basically found myself like homeless, and I didn't want to go back to the Bronx. And I was working on my associate's degree, and I experienced the fear of what it is to how to feed your children and not having a place to live. But successfully, I finished my master's degree. I think my son was about 5 years old. I think actually when I graduated with my master's degree, I was a homeowner, and my kids were, my son was 5, and now my kids are, wow, 26 and 25. my journey brought me to work as I started my accounting career to work in a not-for-profit where I think it was the Clinton's Welfare to Work program. They started a child care assistance. They had like a child care assistance program. And I remember I wrote them because I wrote the state because I said, I go to school, I work full time and I go to school at night. And most of the days I don't get home until 10 o'clock at night. And I thank God for Miss Ruthie for, having the ability to help me take care of my children in the evening. And for the past 15 years, I've worked as a controller in the private sector, and I've put 2 kids through college with 1 salary. It's very hard to do that, of trying to avoid my kids having to have school debt. So I didn't want them to have to go through the same struggles. I've been tired, overwhelmed, and I keep fighting because I look at their faces even now as adults, and I know that it's so worth all of it. And last year I ran for freeholder because my daughter came into my bedroom and she's like, Mom, you do know that you don't have to worry about us anymore and that, we're good, and she told me, what would you want to do next? Like, what's your next project? And I'm like, go to bed, stop worrying about me. But I said to myself, I want to protect people, I want to help those who are struggling through everyday life. And as I was scrolling down Twitter, I think I was on Twitter, I saw an ad that said, oh, are you interested in getting into politics? And I was like, maybe. So then I found out that there was an event that Saturday at CCM. And I thought it was crazy, but I went and I listened to what they said. And I said, I think I want to do this. I think I want to get into the political. I think I want to do this. This is the way that I can represent people, and I ran into a woman there. Her name was Megan Lynch. And I said, okay, I want to run. What do I do? And she's like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I do accounting. It's so boring. And she's like, well, what about a freeholder? And I was like, okay, let me research that a bit and I'll get back to you. And that Tuesday, I was meeting with the Democratic chair. On Wednesday, I was at the convention. On Friday, I was submitting my application. And this year, I wasn't going to run this year. I said, well, now let me kind of look more and research more about what the community needs. But then COVID happened. And I said, I want to make sure people don't feel alone. And I had to make sure that business owners knew their options to hold on to their dreams, to see that they don't have to lose everything. I work, I understand what it is when you talk to business owners and they have not only their family that they love to death, but they also have employees and their families and their dreams and their aspirations. And it looks like it's all going to waste. So going bye-bye. And I said no, I said, it's time for me to make sure that people understand that people have to come over the political sector. That this pandemic has shown us the importance of community and standing by each other. And if any of you guys have seen my Facebook page, I just laugh because I'm, again, not very socially, I'm very private. And I had to figure out how to use Facebook Live. I had to figure out how to do videos and edit videos. And I started doing things on the NJEDA grants and the PPP programs and the CARES Act and, the rental assistance and, how to just kind of take a step back. And for people going through a hard time, not being so busy that you just say, I'll take care of that later. I'll take care of that later. And then it snowballs. But just saying, just take a minute because I've been through this all. Okay. Just take a minute and work out a plan call people and just try to work it out. Because I understand how it is to feel stressed and overwhelmed, and it's just, I get it. And one time I heard a story, and I kind of keep telling this to people. It was about a man who saw people coming down a stream, and he kept trying to save them, and he would jump and save them, jump and save them. And he's like, where are these people coming from? But if he only went up the river, he would have seen that somebody was throwing them in, and it's about taking and looking at a broader perspective. And it's not about honing in on this problem right now, this problem right now, this problem right now, but just taking a minute and just looking at everything. And that's what I wanted to try to give businesses. That's what I wanted to try and give people. I've well, my campaign, I've done things like, myself and my campaign manager, Andrea. She's an amazing. We talked about it. We started visiting small businesses, and, I said, we were talking about it, and we were like, let's make this a part of our campaign. So what we did was we partnered with small businesses, and we showcased their products. And we showcased products from Chester, from Chatham, from Ledgewood, from Denville, from Randolph. And right now we're doing a Keep Calm and Carry On box, which is showcasing businesses from Boonton and Chester. We've held fundraisers where we showcase artists throughout Morris County through all different backgrounds. We had an opera singer, pop singers, gospel singers, Latin singers, Indian Bali dancers, just showcasing their wonderful artistry. We actually had even a 9th grade young woman who fundraised because she's trying to help young ladies in India. I didn't want Morris County to forget how wonderful of a community that we are. I've worked with Table of Hope. And in the beginning, when Table of Hope first started, I was like, how can I help, And, I said, let me just try to call people and see what we can do, like how we can help people. So I started reaching out to different mayors, and we visited Dover, we visited Randolph, we visited Parsippany, Mount Olive, Pequannock, Montville, Jefferson, and this week we're going to Boonton. We were just in Rockaway this past weekend, and there's just so many wonderful things, because there's so many wonderful things Morris County as a community can give, because we have to remember we are all one. We rise and fall together. We need to make sure our businesses are secure. We need to make sure our property values are secure. We need to make sure our environment is secure. We need to make sure that we're educating the people who live here, because it's all one. It's all one. I know what it's like to live through the times that we are in right now. We need leaders who listen and act and use their knowledge to better the community. And that's what I want to bring to the Freeholder Board. Working with businesses of all sizes, anyone who pays tax is involved in some sort of politics, and educating the people on where their taxes go is so key. That transparency and that education is so key. As I've mentioned before, for the past 15 years, I've guided organizations through tough situations as a controller. I know how important it is to see the entire picture and to make sure every dollar counts. We need a fiscally conservative budget with ensuring county services, which span from planning and preservation, human services, higher education, law and public safety, are efficiently serving the community. All of these work together as a sustainable future, and how we move the ball forward and correct from this pandemic is key. I believe I can bring to the Freeholder Board leadership that understands the broad picture and to contribute to sound decisions. Leaders of any kind, whether you have a direct responsibility or not, should be reminding the community of how important it is to fill out your census, because it's a secondary source of income, showing support to businesses by leading and guiding them through various resources. To those experiencing the loss in pay and financial hardships, guidance and support to show what's available. along with providing money management tools, saying out loud that it's okay to be stressed, and providing mental health resources to those who are in need. This is what I can bring to the Freeholder Board. I can also bring innovative ways to create and enhance revenue streams, protecting and persevering our natural resources, at the same time ensuring our property values are maintained. Not only does ensuring our health and economic security matter, but our treatment of others matter. Respecting our diversity and our uniqueness has always made Morris County the place people come to experience work-life balance. I'm running for a lot of different reasons, and I'm so excited to bring my expertise to the Freeholder Board in Morris County. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And Alan, I guess we'll get right into the questions, eh?
Let's do that.
So if you have a question, please enter it in on the question and answer tab. But right now, our first question comes from Josh Hurwitz of Delta Dental. Delta is a great member of the Chamber of Commerce, headquartered right here in Morris County. They provide outstanding dental insurance. So Josh wants to know, which areas of county government do you want to increase funding for, and which do you want to cut funding for?
So at the moment, I wouldn't say that I want to cut or increase funding for anything. I think right now my main goal is to go in and understand what's happening with each of the budgetary lines and see what we need going forward. Because of everything that's happening with COVID, it's not business as usual. You know, it's really kind of honing in, looking at what assessment they've done of the budget, looking at what assessment they've done of the needs of the community, and then trying to figure out if the money is being spent wisely and advocating for the people on a board of 7. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So next question, and we'll segue right into the board of 7, is, of course, there are 7 freeholders, right? All with diverse opinions. How would you work with the other remaining freeholders to get your views and ideas to move forward?
So I feel I've worked in manufacturing, and I've worked in a lot of different industries, and a lot of differing strong-willed opinions, especially as a woman going into those fields as an executive. And as an accountant and a controller, and on the corporate side, you can imagine I was people's favorite person. So basically, what I would do is I would bring up my ideas. I would listen to their ideas. I would listen to where they are coming from in their process. I would broach my ideas, and I would show proof for my ideas. And also, ideally, the idea would be to make sure that it is for the betterment of the community. And if I look good, they look good. We look good together. If we, it's us as a team. It's not one person against one person. And the way that what's made me successful in my career is showing how I make other people look good. And it's showing how I make other people look more profitable. It's showing how I make other people look successful. So that's how my goal is going to be, that I'm there to work for the community. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So speaking of making each other look good and successful, the county has a AAA bond rating, and it gets this year after year. How is this helping the county, and what would you do to help maintain that AAA bond rating?
Okay. It's helping the county. It's obviously helping the county because it reduces, it assists with the interest rate. Here's what I would do, and this is what I think that the freeholders should do when looking at the triple bond rating. It's tied to the economy, obviously. And what we need to do as a county is step back and take a broader look at what makes up the county and what makes up our revenue stream. You know, we can look at things like real estate market, which currently is doing well. People are moving from New York to Morris County. I would want to look, but that doesn't mean much if we don't look at what's happening with our commercial properties, with our industrial complexes. I know that might be offset a little bit by our triple net leases, but is that enough? I don't know. You know, that's one revenue source. Another revenue source would be looking at, you know, our businesses. You know, what type of businesses are coming into Morris County? How can we market better to those businesses? What businesses are we losing? How are we losing those businesses, and how is that impacting our real estate area? You know, looking at our workforce, you know, all of these things impact the economic stability of Morris County. Looking at our workforce, working with the chamber to say, guys, I need help. Understanding, I need you guys to use your network. I need you guys to use your relationships to and use the mayors, use the mayors, you know, talk to the mayors, talk to business owners, you know, say, let's look at the economic stability of our businesses of any size. You know, look at tourism. Tourism, what does that mean? You know, taking and saying, okay, we have small businesses here. We have a culture here. We have a great community here throughout Morris County. How can we make that a revenue stream? How can we make our county parks a place that people want to come and store their boats and have homes here, summer homes here? You know, these are all things that we and that also stems to sustainability in our environment. So we have to kind of take, as a county, take a step back and kind of look at all these things. You know, we have to look at educating our residents. You know, one of the largest markets that is the retail sector, you know, and manufacturing as well. You know, those are, and what can we do with those? We have CCM, we have Voltec, you know, we have abilities to work with additional trainings. Coding's a good industry to get into. There's environment, there's solar energy, there's wind energy. You know, how can Morris County bring those things into Morris County? And then thirdly, it's people. You know, how do we make people want to stay, work, and live here? How do we do that? How do we do that? We have to keep the economy and the culture and the nature of Morris County vibrant so that we maintain that AAA bond rating. And I know some freeholders say it's not our job, but it's not about it being your job. We are a conduit between the state and the community. We are a conduit between businesses and the community and the state. We need to use that leadership and that ability that we have to ensure that we protect people's investments in their property in Morris County, their communities in Morris County. That's what we're here for. That's what the Freeholder Board should. It's not their job, but it should be what they pride themselves on. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So you really touched on a lot there, and there's a couple of questions that we have relative to some of the things you'd mentioned. So let's go with smart growth. Smart growth was mentioned in your opening statement as well, and you talked about growth. So, you know, what does smart growth look like to you, and how can the freeholders continue the economic growth of the county in some more specificity in what you think smart growth looks like? Because we are a business association, the chamber.
So smart growth. We need to look at getting into, and again, the freeholders don't really have a direct impact with all these things, but they have a voice, and it can be a powerful voice. They deal with the chamber, they deal with the community, they deal with the mayors, they deal with the state. They have representatives that represent them at the federal level. It's all one. So what I would do is I would look at what are the industries that we can bring into Morris County. I would learn more about what's the skill set we need, and how can we put that into our schooling system, whether that's Voltec, whether that's CCM, whether it's us even talking to the Board of Eds and trying to make a group to kind of hone in on educating our workforce. You know, I would look at getting into different forms of growth, such as with wind energy, solar energy. I would look at understanding what the businesses are in Morris County, looking at what the businesses are looking to be in the future, and then bringing those or attempting to start to bring those into Morris County. I would also look to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place, to just make sure that we can handle that. And again, that's going to be talking to mayors, that's going to be talking to business owners, that's going to be understanding the problems we have with traffic control amongst towns. It's going to be understanding that all of this needs to kind of be worked out so that we can grow our economy in the proper way.
Excellent. So let's go on. There's a question here relative to the infrastructure, and you really segued into it really well. What do you see as the future of the infrastructure here in Morris County relative to where the freeholders have their purview, and specifically traffic control, roads, the quality of the roads, and so forth?
So one of my main questions, so let's just talk about quality of the roads, right? So one of my questions would be, okay, why do you maintain the roads the way that you do? That would be a question that I have to ask, right? And what's the thought process, and how does it impact the budget and our spending? And is it really working? And then secondly, our traffic control, right? It would be doing some research and asking the questions of, okay, so is there something that we can put in place to assist with the traffic flow? Should we look at public transportation? Would people even use it? Like, where are we putting, how are we working with the transportation departments, and kind of just asking them, let's try to make your schedule closer to what it is that businesses would need. Maybe possibly using your Morris County Chamber of Commerce to kind of do a quick little assessment of, would people even use public transportation, and why would they use it, and why wouldn't they use it? And maybe putting that into play with how we decide on how to streamline the commute issue. That would be ways that we can collaborate together and network and use each other to better the infrastructure issue.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, Alan.
Just build on the last two questions, focusing again, we're a business group on helping business, the county, and how the freeholders could help. We have a county college. We have a Morris County VOTEC. We have great educational resources here. Post COVID, we have unemployment, particularly with some lower skilled workers, the restaurants that aren't going to reopen, gyms, stores. And how would you work with these educational institutions or as a freeholder to help people that are unemployed or underemployed get trained for some of the skills that they can learn in whether it's technology or manufacturing jobs that do have openings where they could be trained with a certificate or a degree?
So I would do a few things. So I would want to understand a little bit about the workforce development program and how we can use that with the VOTEC and CCM program, and even our high schools for that matter. I was researching, and I know they have like an assessment that you can do to say, what kind of career would I even be interested in going in? What kind of skills am I interested in even learning? I would then look at, as I mentioned earlier, what industries we as a county are looking to get into, and what businesses do we want to attract to Morris County. And then I would start developing a workforce for that. I would also take in, I know VOTEC has a carpentry section. I would also take and get in touch with our unions and their internship programs and say, what can we do together? Like, how can we network? What type of skill set are you looking at for the children that are coming out of these programs? Welding, they have welding, the healthcare sector is there, and it's a large and growing one. And it's saying, but let's relax with the healthcare sector. Let's really understand what that means. Let's look at what skill set they're looking for. Let's look at where we project the job market to be. Let's look at how we're going to support them. And then we can say, okay, this is what we're looking at in our municipality. I'm sorry, in our county. These are the skills that these are the skill set that we need. I can do that through our VOTEC program, through our CCM program. Why can't the vote, and I keep saying this over and over again, like a broken record. Why can't people need to talk? And people need to see that they have diverse minds and they have diverse ways of thinking. So VOTEC should be talking to, CCM and to the Board of Eds and to the school systems, to the high schools. And we should just be getting just an understanding of what our market is and what our children need and what young adults need and what adults need to get back into the industry. We have a older population looking to get back into the industry because they can't afford their medical bills, which is a whole other sad event right now. But these are things that we can use the education system that we have and the vast amount of intelligence that we have. We could be using the Morris County Chamber of Commerce to network with the people that to do internships, or to do work study programs, to, give them, make it incentivized, something that we're working together as a community to build up our economy. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So in fiscal responsibility that you'd mentioned earlier, what does that look like to you? What would you do to that end, referencing fiscal responsibility? I know we talked a little bit about it, but if you could dive in a little deeper.
Okay. So with fiscal, the first thing that I would do because of COVID, especially because of COVID, and I've stated this before, on my website, on my Facebook, I've talked about this a bit, on taking a step back and really understanding that we are in different times, that this pandemic is going to be here for a little bit. So we really have to look at our capital projects. We have to look at, spending that we were planning on doing originally and maybe streaming that back, cutting that down, taking a step back and looking at what are the services that we offer and how can we improve on those, look at efficiencies, not necessarily cut them, but just start looking at how can I do this better? It's just like in business. Right? Businesses were faced doing work the way they normally do it. Here comes COVID. And in the manufacturing world, you have to look at, maybe I have to figure out another way to do this manufacturing run. Or maybe I have to look at how I use this assembly line. Or maybe I have to look at how I'm using my people. You have to kind of start thinking outside the box to make it more efficient. So that's basically what I would do. I wouldn't necessarily walk in if it was only me. It's not only me on the freeholder board. If it was only me on the freeholder board, I wouldn't go onto the freeholder board and say things should be cut to be fiscally responsible. I would say, let's really kind of step in, take a look at our team in the county, call people like the Morris Chamber of Commerce and small businesses and kind of streamline where we want to get our economy. Because another thing is, I can feel like I'm doing something, or the freeholders could feel like they're doing something to help the economy and small businesses, and really they're not. It's really like, let's make sure that we're all on the same page. And then in addition to looking at our capital spend, I would look at ways that we can streamline or make things a bit more efficient in our costing, in our spend. I would look, look at secondary and tertiary sources of funding. I've been screaming to the heavens about the census. The census is over. But one thing that I've been talking about with the census is for please people to fill it out. Why? We've all heard the stories. I have a video out there for months back, since God knows when, about the $87 million that went to Passaic County. Okay, Passaic County got $80 million because they had the population size. What do we have to do? Because we knew that we were shy, and that was 10 years ago, and we know we have more people. As a freeholder, I should be yelling to the world, fill out your census. I should be on the phone with my mayors being like, how can I help you to get the word out that it's time to fill out the census? Let's make sure that all of our municipalities are filling out the census. How can I help you? What can I do? What we need to get into, we need the census takers were out there, there's a very easy website, we need to make sure that we solidify our number. So if something like COVID happens again, or God forbid, that we are prepared. That's what we have to do. We have to be fiscally responsible. We have to look at our budget. We have to look at how we can efficiently spend. We have to possibly look at cutting things, but again, you can't say that without saying factual data. We have to use our network to understand how we can grow revenue. And we have to look at secondary and tertiary sources of income so that when things go wrong, I can help people. And if you tell me that I'm only a few thousand people short in 10 years ago, and I know for a fact that I'm not 10,000 people short now, a few thousand people short now, I'm going to be speaking as vocally as I can about filling out that census and working with my mayors to make sure that I give them enough support to do that as well. Thank you.
Great. So you talked about the fiscal, keep on the fiscal responsibility track here. Every budget line item is funded by the taxpayers in the freeholder, in the county budget. Not fully, but some of it comes from other sources, but the majority of it. What would be your criteria to decide what services the county truly needs, the difference between needs and wants in terms of what services should be funded by taxpayers?
Okay, so let's say I was starting today and it's just a regular job, right? I would want to look at public safety and public works because they have seen an increase every year, right? So I would really want to understand why. And why? What have they done with the money? Main categories, like, is it salaries? Is it vehicles? Is it actual services? Is it your org chart? Like how many people you have working in your department? And then I would say, okay, let's look at your staffing. Maybe we can use them somewhere else. Maybe do we need them? Do we not need, kind of just understand, do we need that second vehicle, that second Hope truck? I don't know if we needed that. Like what is the data behind that? Do we need a SWAT vehicle? I don't know. Let's look at if that's what we need. It's different things like looking at where the spending is going and basically seeing if it's needed, if it should be streamlined, and then we need to make it more efficient. So that's what I would be doing when I would be looking at the budget. I would start off with the two main areas that I see trending upward and really, really, really honing in on why that is. If the money's being used wisely, is the proper staffing there? Are we streamlining as much cost as possible? Have we networked with people like the Chamber of Commerce or any institution for that specific area that we're going into, just to understand, maybe they're doing something different in another municipality. I don't know. Like these are things that I would kind of look at to kind of understand what the budgetary items are.
Thank you so much. So in your opening statement, you had also mentioned that, you like to help people that are struggling. And you gave a great history of your struggles and how you overcame those. What, as a freeholder, specifically, what could you do or see the freeholders do to help people that are struggling? Okay.
So depending on what their reasoning is, and again, this is where we know that a lot of Morris County is living paycheck to paycheck. We know it. We know it. We know that that's what it is. Okay. So what I think we need to do is work on educating. People can take away a lot from you, but they can't take away your education. I work with the Table of Hope, because right now people need food. I believe that, let me tell you, the people in Morris County and my visits to these municipalities, they're amazing. They're amazing. The amount of volunteers that come out to help is amazing, you know? So, in helping people to feed their families, you know, and helping people with education, you know, those are things that the freeholders can do. That's within their purview, you know, to helping them with their mental stresses, you know, the mental health, to helping them with drug addiction, you know, to helping. Those are things that the freeholders could do. And it's not only, it's with funding, and it's also leadership. It's also leadership. It's also saying, I'm human. I'm human. I am not perfect. You know, I'm human. I've been through it all. And I'm still standing here. And I can tell you, you know what? The help I got with my education, the help I got, you know, with childcare, the help I got raising my, you know, helping me raise my family was priceless. Was priceless. And I don't forget about that. And that's why I fight for collaboration between the Morris County Chamber of Commerce, between the Board of Eds, between CCM, between VOTEC, between state programs, state colleges, between any place that we can get a collaboration and a network set up, because I don't know everything. No one does. You need to get that out there. You know, we talk about infrastructure, and we talk about, you know, making our community better and servicing our community better. We have like NJIT. You know, why can't we use NJIT with the CCM and figure out, you know, make a little fun program, even with VOTAC, to make a fun program to figure out what we can do with our roads and our buildings, environment's friendly. You know, but this is stuff that you need on the freeholder board. You need these things on the freeholder board, because us together, Chamber of Commerce and the municipalities, the boards of eds, anyone who is willing to talk and make things better, that's what we can make better. And that's what the freeholders can do. Is to say that I'm there to be that conduit for you. I'm there to be that voice for you. And it doesn't have to be every single, it could be one person can be that. It's not necessary for it to be 7. It's easier and more efficient for it to be 7, but it doesn't have to be 7. It can be one person. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So staying in line with services and kind of what you were alluding to here, what shared service what it says here, let's see, what shared services are good and bad, and what should be added?
So here's the thing with shared services. Shared services sounds very nice. It sounds very nice. And I agree with shared services because it cuts costs. However, you have to understand, and there has to be someone in the process of doing it that understands about execution, that understands that each municipality has their own culture, that each municipality wants to hold on to certain things that they are specifically working with. So I think what happens with shared services is many of them, like we have right now, there are certain offices that, you know, like the 911 is being done at the county level and so forth. But you really need someone doing the execution that is going to take into consideration at least the majority of the concerns, and at least someone who understands how to give those shared services along to the municipalities in a way that people are not going to feel that they are lost in the shuffle of a shared service. So I believe in shared services. I believe that we should have a network put together that honestly, before something it becomes a shared service, what should be looked at, it should be mapped, the logistical issues should be mapped out. An assessment, a factual assessment should be done at the cost benefit. You know, we should be able to communicate on the expectations to the municipalities and to the constituents. And then we should understand how to roll it out. I believe wholeheartedly, if you can make sure that you look at the logistical process of putting through a shared service, execute it properly, remember the people who you're giving it to, it will be a success and people won't not want it, you know, but I feel like that's probably where we're lacking. So I believe a good shared service, you know, could be Yeah, but again, based on everything I just said, it really would depend on the execution. So what things can we share services on? You know, a lot of anything really, as long as we feel like it's hitting us the proper way.
Mhm.
So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, shared services. So what would be a shared service that you would support?
If it's done properly, probably I would look at somehow sharing education. I would look at sharing, where I would look at sharing education. I would look at sharing, like public safety items. But again, I'm afraid to put I'm not saying to share those things because honestly, people are not too happy sometimes with the shared service. Like honestly, unless I'm on that board, like unless they say, Cary, we want to share a certain service and we want you to be one of the people on that team doing it. Well, I say I support a share service because I don't know if they're going to do it right. And I don't want to put my name behind something that doesn't get done right. And as a freeholder, I'm only one of 7. And yeah, so I would think that we can share services in general, that of services that are needed by multiple repetitive things that are needed by all municipalities. That's what I say, that we can share services. If it's something that's a repetitive need that can be done in an efficient, effective way, that municipalities don't feel like they're being left behind, I will support any service that is a redundancy. The reason why I talk specifically, and it's a very sensitive subject, the education part, and I know it's sensitive. And again, I'm going to repeat what I just said. Okay. If it's not done properly, children get forgotten. And that's why if you are not doing it right, I don't think it should be shared. And maybe we can share ideas at the top level, but if it's not done properly, it's a huge detriment to people who feel like they already don't have a voice. I live in Randolph, right? So my son went to the high school here. Okay. His freshman year, he was taking elective courses where he was able to take drafting. He got into drafting, then he decided he wanted to do architecture. So I was like, I don't know what an architect does. So I started researching what an architect does. I looked up programs that he can take in his junior year to get him, those junior programs when you're in your junior year. For anybody who has kids, if you think your child wants to be in something, there's a lot of programs throughout the country that they can go in their junior year to see if they even want to study that. So that's what I found. I found one at Miami University. He took a program there. He took a program at NGIT, and he was able to decide, I like architecture. I want to try it out. I know what it means to put my energy into something like that, And then I told him, build a resume. Go out there in the world and see if you can get a little job in your senior year, and see what you get, just so you can kind of understand what you're getting into, because that's like a big field and it takes you a long time to do it, but those are things that I feel should be given to other school districts. That curriculum of having an elective process where children can figure out what they want to do, should be something that's given to Dover or any other school district that doesn't have something like that. So maybe it's more of a collaboration ideas. Why don't we start out there? Let me think what else. There was something else I wanted to say and I lost my train of thought. But basically my main thought comes down to, if a shared service is repetitive, if it can be done right, if people don't feel like they're being disenfranchised, I feel that if it's done right, we should at least look at it, even if it starts off at a collaboration. What's that saying? You crawl before you walk, or crawl before you run.
That's right.
Let's start slow with anything that we do. let's kind of take a minute and say,
Mhm.
let's just let people feel comfortable, even if it's just with collaborations. And then once we have collaborations, then we can kind of work into other areas, and because there's so many different facets to education that we should really kind of take into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, so we have one last question here, and then we're going to go into closing comments.
Oh, this is
And so it says, Morris County is traditionally a Republican county. What is your strategy to win as a Democrat?
So, this is funny because I'm so tired of Republican Democrat. I'm so tired. So tired. You know why? Because I have like family members and I have like friends that are Republican. I'm a Democrat. We're all people. We're all people. We all want to protect our property values. We all essentially want to protect the environment because it impacts our property values. We all want to see, our children grow and have proper education and a good life. We all want the same things, and I don't believe, because I have Republican friends, they're similar to me. They might be frustrated about certain things. They might feel angry about certain things, but it's all the same thing. So my campaign, I have not thought about Democrat or Republican. I thought about Cary. I thought about me. And I thought about what I can give you. That's it. And as a person, I preferred to think of it what I could give you professionally, because I am not a perfect person. I don't have a perfect life ever, but I love my life and I love my life and I love my kids. And I just love everything about everything that I've done. So when I think of Republican or Democrat, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, because before any of that, we're human beings, we're Americans, and we respect each other, and I believe that we do have that, even though sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And I want to bring that back to Morris County. I want to bring that back to me. You know what? It's already here, because Black Lives Matter, all those people, saying that they believe that Black Lives Matter, all the people that are saying that we understand that maybe we don't understand, so maybe I have to think a different way. Amazing, and that's why I don't think of Republican or Democrat, because it's just so little in the gist of things, so I'm excited. This event was like so nice. You guys are amazing and sweet, and I had a really good time sharing with you guys.
Well, thank you. We had a great time with you. So is there any last thing you'd like to add before we hand it back to Alan and Megan?
Okay. When you talk so much, you're just like, oh my God. Like my kids, I don't know if you guys have kids, but like my kids are older. And I'm like, do you guys really feel like I like to hear myself talk? I'm like, do you think I like telling you like what to do all the time? I just like you to know. Yes, I do have closing remarks. I just want to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. This year is about leadership, and how we govern is at the utmost importance. How we listen to every resident and understand the bigger picture is so integral in moving our county forward, especially from this pandemic. We do need a fiscally conservative budget while ensuring our county services are maintained. We need leaders who understand that it's just not about spouting AAA bond rating things, that they understand that it's a whole picture. It's supporting business, it's building networks, it's collaboration, it's educating our residents, it's about economic growth, it's about ensuring secondary and tertiary sources of revenue, it's about inclusion of everyone. All of these things impact our investment in our properties and in the well-being of our life. So I said it before, I have my master's degree in accounting with over 15 years of experience working with diverse mind and understanding firsthand on what it takes to work with differing voices in a room and making ideas and innovations occur. We need leaders who understand. We need leaders who understand the entire picture of securing our investment in Morris County and caring for our residents. Please vote. That's the most important thing right now. We have, oh my gosh, like less than 13 days to vote. Make sure your vote is counted because you individually are so important. You are so important. So make sure that you vote early so that you can track your ballot on NJ Elect. Okay, you can visit my website at caryamaro4freeholder.com to learn more. I have a ton of resources and videos on there. And if you do contact me, I will get back to you within 24 hours. And thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Cary Amaro, for being here with us today. And back to you, Alan and Megan.
Thank you.
Okay, let Megan end everything. I just want to thank you as well for being part of our candidate series. I want to echo what you said to vote early with the paper ballots. It's more important than ever. And there are drop boxes. Go online to Clerk Grossi's website. You could find out where to go. That's a lockbox closest to you. I'd highly recommend doing that. If you wait till election day to vote, it's a provisional ballot, which counts later and is less likely to count. So please vote early, put it in the lockbox. We'll stay tuned we're having the Assembly Budget Chair in November and other great events. And everybody have a great day. I'll turn it over to Megan. I just want to thank Mike for a great job moderating and Cary again for your support. Megan.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Michael, for moderating. Thank you, Cary, for being with us and for explaining your positions and reasons for running. I always say I admire those who serve. Michael is a mayor, as many of you know, and please get involved with your local community, whether it's as a volunteer on a board or as an elected official. That's what makes our democracy work and continue to be effective. So thank you for being with us today, and to all those running. Again, echoing both sentiments from Mike and Alan to submit your ballot. And thank you for being with us today. We're at the Chamber. We're glad to bring you the Meet the Candidate series virtually. So again, thank you for being with us. And please visit our calendar at morrischamber.org/events to view all of our great upcoming events. We have our Economic Outlook event next week. We will have an economist from JP Morgan speaking, so we hope you can join us then. So thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.